Annalise.
Good morning, Julia. I'm actually trying to focus myself so the sun's not so bright on me, but I guess it's just a beautiful day and I can't change that.
It is a beautiful day. It was a beautiful day yesterday too. Thank God for this sunshine. I love it.
I know, and we're at week number 31, would you believe?
Oh no.
We've actually done pretty well every Monday.
We've been holding on. We've been really thorough and been, consistent, which is it's funny because we've tried a lot of things and oftentimes we just stop after a while, but this has been motivating us, I think, and I hope it's motivating you guys too at home.
Yeah, it's just a good way to kick off our week. And today's Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving weekend, right? So I think a lot of people celebrate Sundays, but today is the actual day to celebrate, isn't it? Thanksgiving Monday.
It is. I always do my Thanksgiving dinner on Monday. I never do it on the weekend. I do it on the actual day.
And of course, we did ours yesterday, and I know my kids in Calgary, I was chatting with them and they were doing theirs yesterday too. So
right. But I understand the logic behind it because, everybody is pretty much working on Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, like people like to do it on the Sunday and then have the day off on Monday.
Exactly.
Which is logical. But, having been at home, working from home all my life, almost, it's never been an issue for me. So I do it on Monday. And you want to know something interesting? I had never had a real Thanksgiving dinner until I met my husband, John.
Well, what do you mean?
I grew up in Quebec and this was just not something we did.
Oh.
We didn't celebrate Thanksgiving in Quebec. I don't know if it was just my family but I don't even remember any of my friends doing this whole turkey thing and the whole big thing for Thanksgiving. That'd be a good question to ask our viewers.
Mm-hmm.
If you are from Quebec, did you celebrate Thanksgiving the way we celebrate it here in Ontario? Or is it just me that my family was not doing it? Yeah, no, we celebrated Christmas big time and New Year's and all that jazz, but Thanksgiving was not a big deal. I don't remember ever eating a turkey for Thanksgiving until I met John, and then Thanksgiving is so big in America.
Yeah.
Their Thanksgiving is such a big deal that we started doing the Thanksgiving dinner at my house too.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you didn't do it at all. Now you do it twice.
Now I do it twice a year. I was telling my mother yesterday, because she calls me the queen of the turkeys because she loves my turkeys, and I was telling her that I have one turkey at Canadian Thanksgiving, and then I have a turkey at American Thanksgiving, and then I'm so fed up by Christmas time. I'm having a Tex-Mex dinner at Christmas time. We're having tamales and other brisket tacos and stuff, but no turkey. Done with the turkey.
Well, this year it was kind of nice because we were both gifted turkeys from Neil and Jane McMillan.
Yes,
which was awesome. It was awesome, and they were both grain-fed turkeys from local farms. Mm-hmm. Mine was actually mine was from it was called Dream Small Farm.
Yeah.
And yours is from Blue Duck Farm. So they're both relatively local, and they're both grain-fed, and we're supposed to let them know how they are. So, and I know mine, we had it yesterday. We did the traditional in the oven cooking, and Julia, you're doing yours in the smoker. So
I'm doing mine for the first time on the smoker this year. So I can't wait to see how it turns out.
And it's actually going to fit in there like yours.
It's in there right now. It's fitting just fine. It was a little big. My husband had to remove the thermometer that's at the top because it was hitting on the turkey. But it's fitting fine, and I'm sure it's going to be very different and probably very juicy and tender. So I can't wait to try it.
Well, ours was done in the pan in the oven, and Sheldon stuffed it down because it didn't fit, and he put the lid on. And then my sister tells me the best way to cook a turkey is completely uncovered. You don't even put the lid on. You don't put foil on. You don't put the lid on. You just keep it uncovered. I didn't know that.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, we thought you had to put a lid on.
Yeah, I usually have like
no.
the little electric turkey roasters, so I cook mine in those. And it has a lid, but it always turns out really good. My mother just loves my turkey. Anyway.
Well,
So,
I did ours, so, and thankfully it did turn out okay, because like everybody knows, I don't cook. So Sheldon was out on the property working, so I had to keep care of the turkey. So it was good. It was edible. It was good. Because I'm not a cook in this house.
Good. Anyways, so happy Thanksgiving to everybody today. We have a special guest today.
Yes, we do. Her name is Christine Lavoie. She's our newest contributor to The Seeker, and we're really happy to have her. She's a consultant and a counselor with her own business. It's called Change in Action, and her column is called Change in Action.
I'll see if I can.
There she is. Actually, move her over. Yeah, perfect.
There we go.
And that's exactly what it is. Like, we'll have her talk about why it's called Change in Action, but it's a very appropriate name.
And this is in the latest Seeker, which just came out last week, which is gorgeous. I am so proud of this one. Well, it's beautiful.
We changed the stock. There's the front that's kind of my front, and the back is hers. Hold yours up, Julia, because we have our own section.
Yes.
So mine is always the front part, and Julia's is the back. She keeps care of that. So two very different looks, but we're happy with it, and we changed the stock as well, so it's a nice, shiny, nice, good quality feeling.
Very good quality, and it's packed with information. Like, we have this because it was Going Country this month, so we had stuff that are going on in the outskirts of Cornwall, and so we have like this huge directory that just contains pretty much everything there is. Like, Miley's did a good job at putting it together. Anyways, get your copy while you can. We're going to be distributing the big boxes very soon. We're trying to get them placed in strategic places in and around town. Namely, like, we're trying to get the city to approve putting them in at the bus stop on the corner of 2nd and Pitt, and the other bus stop on Brookdale. So we would have like strategic places where they will be distributed. Anyway, so stay tuned. We'll get an answer for that eventually. But there'll be a box at the office at 327 2nd Street East. It'll be placed this week, and then you can get your copies there. And also Sharon's Pantry.
Yeah, Sharon's Pantry, she's going to be a permanent location where you can pick up your copy. We're just trying to make it safe for people so they don't have to line up to go into a grocery store, and no contact, just a safe way of doing it during these uncertain pandemic times.
Absolutely.
And that is part of what we're going to talk to with about our guest today.
So let me bring her in right away. Here is Christine.
Hi there.
Hi, Christine.
How are you today? Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Well, thank you. And happy Turkey Day to you both.
Thank you.
So nice to be here.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you.
Me? Let me see. Oh, what do you want to know?
So how did you get into counseling?
Well, it was, part of my education all through my 20s. And in my late 20s, I moved to the Cornwall area. And I started working, first of all, as a counselor at Maison Baldwin House.
Okay.
It was my first job that I was hired for. And then the stewardship for that position passed to the hospital and became what we have today is the hospital-based program for responding to women who've been recently sexually assaulted. And I went to work for the Sexual Assault Support Services after that, so SAS. For a while, I trained volunteers there. And then I opened my own private practice in Cornwall. I was also teaching at St. Lawrence College. In your 20s, you're really busy. Did a lot of things.
Yeah.
And then my husband at the time has worked at us back to Quebec. And so when I got there, I was a guidance counselor for a while. and mostly a teacher. I'd had my daughter by that point, so I worked in the school system, so I matched her schedule exactly. So, you know, I was off in the summers and all my holidays were her holidays. And so that was kind of cool and that worked well. And now she's all grown up and actually she's a commercial airline pilot.
She's what, sorry?
She's a commercial airline pilot.
Wow.
Oh my. Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, did I hear that right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we found out she wanted to be that when she was 9 years old. And
wow.
And I believe in supporting people's dreams. You know, a lot of people identify what and who they want to be, you know, career-wise when they're quite young.
Absolutely.
And we need to pay attention to them.
I know. Like I knew that I was going to be in the media field, like from the get-go. That's what I wanted to do, right? But I went all big circle, like all the way around until I finally got to do what I like when I was in my 30s, you know. So it took a long way around to get to where I should have been all along.
Oh yes, and for so many people, you know, Julia, they have a similar story. That they have to take this big circuitous path to get to where they actually wanted to go. And I was glad, you know, for my daughter that we just kind of went straight there.
That's good.
Yeah, that's amazing. Because I find here, like I'm from England, so it's a little different. Because I find in Canada, you pretty well have to know what you want to be at an earlier age to take the right subjects so that you know where you're going. In England, it doesn't work quite like that. So I find it's harder here, but it's amazing that when somebody has that, you know,
passion,
that dream and just follows through with it. That's amazing.
Yeah. And that's actually a big part of my counseling practice is doing career counseling with people. And it's not just, okay, what job do I want? What's the training I need for that job? It's a lot of people forget about that thing back there when they were a kid, what they really wanted to be. And so we take some time exploring that. And, you know, it's wonderful to see people blossom. I mean, I worked as a guidance counselor. I taught in the college system for many years. So I know that, you know, even at a certain, like a young adult stage, if they're still not sure, they still have time, but they, you know, it's good. They need a nudge in the right direction. You know, that's what we need. We need a nudge in the right direction by somebody. Sometimes all it takes is one person one time saying it. I see lots of people for just one session and we get to them and they're like, okay, now I know what to do. Wow. You know, and they go do it. And, you know, for people's happiness in life, our work, what we do is our job, our work is such a huge component of what makes us truly happy. So
yeah, would you say that so you know you have a dream when you're a kid and you think you want to become this or that, and then you start going to school, and do you think that there's pressure to find what you want to do? Like a lot of people don't know what they want to do, but they know what they're supposed to do because, you know, you're supposed to aim for money. You're supposed to aim to get a good salary, have a good paying job in society. So then you might, you know, just veer away from that dream just because you have to, or people tell you that you have to have a good paying job.
Absolutely. You know, it's amazing. We have a ton of research that shows that money actually doesn't buy happiness, but people will trade their happiness for money. They will also trade their health for money a lot of the time. It amazes me. And the thing is, I used to see this, you know, as a guidance counselor, as a teacher, people are under a lot of pressure, a lot of the time from their own parents and their families. Oh, you can't do that. You can't be that.
Don't be an artist. That doesn't work. It doesn't pay.
I was going to say that's one of the quickest responses you'll get if you show promise as an artist is, well, you know, maybe we'll cultivate it as a side thing outside of school, but it's not really taken seriously as, and the question is, of course, the question is there, like, how do I make my living doing this? But you see, it's really important to realize that every single person has a unique genetic blueprint, that means that their contribution is going to be unique to them. It won't be exactly the same as anyone else. Really, like we are really, each one of us, incredibly special, and we have something to offer that no one else in the world can actually offer. That way of doing it, that particular thing, you know. And so it's really important for, if you're exploring career wise, that you look at all the elements of what is it about this thing that attracts you to it? What really gives you, you know, joy, your passion, what gives you flow? What are you, you know, often I just say to people, you know, if you woke up tomorrow and you all of a sudden, for some reason, you didn't have to do anything, you know, what would you spend your time doing? If you had nothing else that you had to do, what would you spend your time doing? You know, and that usually starts giving a clue.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually there's some, you know, you can keep some elements of the dream, and you can sort of set up a kind of a compromise with the money thing, because we have to make a living, right? But if you can zero in on what exactly are the elements of the dream that are going to make us most happy, and then we'll see how we can package that with what's out there, you know?
And then there's also making money and making money. Like, do you really need to make $300,000 a year? Or, you know, can you be happy with 60,000, 50,000 and have the necessities and, you know, be able to just pay your bills? Are you happier if you have more?
Yeah, it's remarkable, eh? We've really been marketed a story in our culture, in mainstream culture. I'm not necessarily talking about Indigenous culture here, or, you know, I'm talking about mainstream North American culture, that money and things are going to make us happy. And that is not true.
Definitely not true.
A ton of social science research which indicates that money alone will not make us happy. And if we say, well, we want money to buy things, there's this thing called the hedonic treadmill. So hedonism, happiness for happiness sake, which shows that if you buy something new, say a new cell phone or a new car, whatever, your actual level of being happy with that new toy tends to level off. You know, at the beginning, you're like really, really, really happy, and then it levels off, your level of happiness, usually before you've paid for the thing.
Yeah, right.
And then you start paying for this thing and it's lost its, like, you know, its pizzazz or its glitz or its shine.
And new one comes out.
New one comes out. So you're stuck on, and it's called the hedonic treadmill, because you're stuck paying for the last thing and you're already wanting to buy the new thing because you're looking for, again, that, you know, that level of happiness that in the end it's always fleeting, you know. But this is what the marketing people work on. This is what they want to sell us, right? Because they got to sell stuff, more and more and more stuff. But the fact of the matter is, it isn't true. What actually does make us happy is, like I said, our work, whether or not it's fulfilling. You know, many people will work for less money if they can get conditions of their work that work better for them. That's well known.
Quality of life.
Quality of life. And what do we mean by quality of life? Over and over again, the same thing. My relationships. Can I be with my family? My experiences, you know, can I travel to a part of the world that I've always wanted to see? More and more we're finding that people, it's what really matters to people are relationships and connectedness. What's the stress of COVID?
Especially. It's funny because I'm just working, because I'm working on my 2020 list of 20 things to be thankful for Thanksgiving that I'm going to be publishing today. And the first thing on my list is family. Like, to me, there's nothing more important than family. Like, my family is everything. It's my everything. It's why I do everything I do.
Oh yeah, my family. Human beings, you know, we're social creatures. Our connections to others are absolutely fundamental to our health and happiness.
And that's why it's kind of tough right now with COVID going on, because that is changing. Even Thanksgiving, like, it's not the same as it It has been for a lot of people because you can't really get together with a group of 20 or so people. So
No.
So, question,
And for many of us,
Whoops,
just to
go
speak
ahead.
to that, Mylise, for a second, for many of us, that might be the only time, those 3 or 4 times of year, Thanksgiving, the holiday season, you know, if we sell whatever we celebrate in the spring, those are the times of year when we actually get to connect in person with people who are most important to us and our extended family members who we may not see or be in person with the rest of the time. So when we can't do that, it's really stressful. You know? Yeah.
Yeah. So, Mylise, did you have your family over? Like, was everybody there, or?
Well, my family's like 6 people.
Yeah.
Like our immediate household. We actually we did do it at my sister's, and we socially because she's got a bigger house, so she's got a huge table. So we're all socially distanced at the table. In like me and Sheldon, my mom and dad, my sister, and her husband. But I mean, we don't really go anywhere, so we're not with anybody at all anyway.
Yeah.
But she still socially distanced us.
Yeah.
So that's how we did it. And then with my kids, of course, they're in Calgary, so I Zoom meeting them, and we kind of did a little Thanksgiving that way. But I mean, that's not a normal way of doing things.
Yeah, no, it's not.
It's not a normal way.
But you still managed to do it. And that's the great thing, you know, is that we're all coming up with creative solutions.
Well, we managed to do it. But I mean, the sad part is because we couldn't have Ryan with us, right? Because my son's oldest, my hubby's oldest son couldn't come because he's not in that social bubble. Plus, he works at Walmart and he's with a lot of different people. And with my mom and dad being elderly and my dad having cancer, unfortunately, it was really sad. I bought a plate back for him because he couldn't be part of the bubble. So that's kind of was just not the way we're supposed to do it. It's supposed to be everybody together, but
yeah. So I have 5 children, and usually this is where we're all like the one time, because I have older ones and little ones, and so usually this is where we all get together. This is the one time of the year, as long like with Christmas as well, but where we're all together with the girlfriends and everything. And now I have a grandson, so that would have been like my grandson would have been here and everything. But we're not doing this year. So my hubby works as well, so I don't want to, you know, put them at risk, and my other son works as well in a big facility, so there could be exposure there. So I don't want to expose anybody to anything. So I don't know. I know I'm gonna bring them some plates. Like
same thing.
One of my sons is coming over, but he's gonna eat outside. So I'm not sure if we're gonna all eat outside. Depends on the weather, I suppose. But I guess I'm gonna do Zoom with Kyle and Corbin and Brittany.
Yeah, it's kind of a sad way of doing it. Like even in our house right now, we all wear masks again. Like it's just not a normal way of being. But because he works out of the house in a bigger place, like you say, he's more exposed to things than we are because we don't. We work from home. So
I was telling John that I feel like, because my husband works outside as well, so, and he works overnight, so most of the times he will be sleeping during the day and going to work at night. And so I try to not be in the same room as him when he's, you know, because there was exposure at his work. So I don't want to, you know, there has been confirmed cases at his work. So I don't want to chance it. So I sleep on the couch when he's off. And then he sleeps in the bedroom, and he kind of owns the bedroom, and I'm there only when he's not. And so I was telling him, I feel like I have a roomer, like, you know, I feel like that's all it is right now. No, a rumor, like I have room and board, like, you know, that's what I'm. So it feels really weird because, you know, it's like, it's like
and you know, we can really mark those places where we are losing something, and it's not there. And those are the things we know by our feelings. And there is a grief. There is grief.
There would be.
Having lost those things. And, take note, because the function of grief as an emotion is to tell us how important something is to us.
Yeah.
Right? The more we miss it, the more deeply and profoundly we are sad. The more that tells us how much this meant to us.
Yeah.
So
how do you cope with that?
We know that it probably won't be like this forever, given the fact that things are changing constantly.
Mm-hmm.
But for today, we can be thankful for even though we're not there. There's this old song by Burton Cummings called "It Feels Good Even Missing You." And I strongly encourage everyone to listen to it. It's wonderful. Burton Cummings being that wonderful Canadian singer-songwriter. And it's a fabulous song. And it really encapsulates a lot of these feelings, that we have right now, which is, wow, like this meant a lot to like not having thanks. Like, boy, okay. So some years I might complain, oh my God, this is a lot of work. Oh my gosh, having everybody here, but then when we don't have it, we go, oh, wow,
yeah,
that's big. That's how big that is.
Yeah.
It's this huge thing. So, wow, I can be grateful for that. And next year, creator willing, when we're all together again, we'll go, remember that year we couldn't be together. And that's going to deepen our gratitude even more at that point, I think.
I'm going to share the video of that song that you were talking about so people can go and watch it. There you go. It's in the chat box. So we have a few people watching. If you have questions for Christine, you can go ahead and type them in a chat box and we will be asking for you. Christine is a counselor and she's our new writer at The Seeker. Why don't you talk to us about your company?
Sure. Change in Action?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the name of my practice. And the reason I call it Change in Action is because I've always been something of a change agent around other people. And all that means is that I help people think about maybe doing something differently, either their behavior, their thoughts, or their feelings. And but I need to qualify that and say it's really important. It's acceptance first and then change, right? So people don't come to see me, I go, okay. Oh, it is different. It's like, okay, first we explore and we look at, and the thing is for me, change is at the end of the day, that's an important part of the equation. In fact, our ability to change and to grow and to flow with the times is directly related to our healing power. Okay. So our ability to change, because our bodies change all the time. Every 7 years, every single cell in our body is replaced at least once. Every 7 years, we have a new body. And our minds change constantly. Oh my gosh, have 3 cups of coffee and then see how far I'm just joking, but you know what I mean? And we often do focus a lot on the mind, but the body's very important to pay attention to. And of course, this is attached to this.
Right.
So I invite when people come to talk to me and they need something to be different in their life, I say, well, nothing changes till something changes. So,
exactly.
What are we going to work this? And I almost always find that just about anybody can change some aspect of their life. Now, take COVID, for example. I think that's a really great example because it's an external stressor. It's something that's happening outside of us. It's something that we don't control. Okay. And whenever there's something in our life that is stressing us that we don't control or that we can't control, the thing that we can change, though, has to do with us. So I can't change what's going on out there, this particular thing, COVID. But what I can change is maybe my attitude about it. And then, well, how does that work? And we're all dealing with these enormous changes in our lives. COVID has changed every aspect of our life, our social life, our work, our family. you know?
So we have
we have a question?
Yeah, we have a question. What are initial steps to change do you recommend?
Okay, that's a great question. What do we do first? Well, what do we do first is we identify what it is we would like to change.
First step.
What is it an internal stressor? Is it something to do with us? So there's external stressors, the things out there that often we can't change. I have a noisy roommate. I live in the city, there's traffic, or there's COVID-19, or there's the weather.
Mm-hmm.
Things we don't change, or is the stressor coming from inside? Sometimes I'm really hard on myself. I give myself difficult personal messages that I think about. This is adding to my stress. Or sometimes it has to do with my body. There's pain, right? Pain is an excellent way of hearing what needs to change for our body. But remember, this is connected to this.
So, Lisa and I are going at the very same time.
And something I love to do actually sometimes when people come to me and they have issues with pain is I say, I wonder what the pain is saying.
Mm-hmm.
What is the pain saying? And so we look for ways to let the pain speak. The pain is always speaking. That's why it hurts.
Oh, I know it's speaking.
Yeah. But the question is, what is it saying? And of course, your body doesn't speak the same way your mind does. Your mind, forms thoughts and then whoop, they come out your mouth. Great. But the body's not quite the same way. However, we need to listen to the body.
So, okay. So you do that and then what?
So we identify what is the source of the problem that needs to change. And so if it's external, something we don't control, we need to change our way of thinking about it. And so that usually has to do with talking, being, feeling. There are all kinds of ways. So whenever we talk about any kind of stressor, the beginning of the path to healing is coping. So there's stress and then there's coping. So there's many, many different ways. And we all have coping strategies. We are all fully capable as human beings of healing. We are all fully capable of changing and adapting to our circumstances. You've been doing that your whole life since you popped out of the womb. Heck, even before you popped out of the womb, you were changing to adapt to your environment and your circumstances. And it's no different now. At any age, we're all capable of changing.
Okay, so when you say coping, you're not talking about going to grab a glass of wine. Are you?
Okay. Well, there's two types of coping. Okay? There's adaptive coping and there's maladaptive coping. Yes, actually going to grab a glass of wine is a coping mechanism. We are looking to lower the overall stimulation of our central nervous system, and alcohol is a central nervous system depressant. So actually taking a glass of alcohol because you want to be calm is effective in the moment. The problem with any substance, is that you need, especially substances that are known to be addictive, and potentially anything can become addictive, but substances and behaviors that are known to be addictive, the problem with them is that you have to keep doing more and more of it to get the same effect. Okay? Because the body, we adapt, right? So the body quickly adapts and, you develop tolerance over a period of time. Not if you carefully monitor, like if it's one glass of wine once in a while, that's not known to be a problem. In fact, that can be beneficial. It's the balance, right? It's everything in moderation. Exercise is wonderful. It's one of the, hands down greatest coping mechanisms we can have. But some people can even take that overboard, right? They can exercise to the point where their body hurts and needs to stop and do something more gentle, So everything we want to have a balance, right?
Yeah.
And so our coping methods, our coping toolkit. Okay. We all have methods that we use to cope, but sometimes we need to learn new ones. And that's all this is. It's learning new coping methods and then following through and doing them. having the motivation, this is why this is great. It's Monday morning motivation.
Yeah.
This is why this is great. And it can really help to speak to somebody, okay, to involve a counselor or a therapist, or, sometimes a good friend can be that too, to really help, get you going and motivate you. But, choose wisely. Many people have come from backgrounds where they're not really sure how to choose an appropriate person who's going to be positive and helpful and give them unconditional positive regard, encouragement. Some of them come from backgrounds where we got a lot of that, so we don't know how to find it. It's really one of the most incredible things about human beings. One of the most biggest challenges is that we don't always seek out what's healthy, but we will gravitate towards what feels familiar. And for some of us that come from unhealthy environments or who are survivors of abuse, we may find ourselves right back in that. And even when we try to get help, and that some people can get themselves into a repetitive cycle of trying,
stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Well, suppose I leave an abusive relationship and oh, great. I'm out of that finally, 6 months go by, and then I'd like to start to date and I want to see somebody great. And then 6 months later, I'm like, oh my gosh, how did this happen? I'm right back where I was, and that's because sometimes one of the things we need to change is how we're wired up to think about relationships, right? Some people are not even attracted to healthy relationships because they really don't have a blueprint. And in my brain, the way my brain's wired up, my neural nets are all connected around certain responses from people that I think is love, but is not really love.
Do you think that people are also kind of attracted with drama?
That could be, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, they could be attracted into drama and chaos. People who grew up in environments that were very chaotic, either maybe because the parent had a mental illness or a substance abuse problem, or just, was abusive. This can create a lot of chaos in the household. And this actually has an impact on the developing brain. Brain becomes flooded with cortisol because it's constantly in the fight or flight response, under challenge, fight, flight, or freeze. And this actually influences the development of the brain. And so this is what this is the neurological basis of the pattern I was just discussing about being attracted to unhealthy situations over and over and over again and having difficulty changing that, because that's how your brain's wired up. And if you're in that kind of pattern, you need support to bust free of that. Depending on the particular issue, there are lots of resources in the community, but the thing is, a lot of those resources can be overwhelmed, especially right now.
Yeah, that's
so. Yeah, so the way my practice works is that I encourage people to first send me an email, and all my coordinates are on the Change in Action Facebook page that I have, Change in Action. And people send me an email and they let me know, okay, I'd like to hear from you, or they want to hear from me. It's just as if they call me up. Yeah, that's it. Thank you. If they just use my phone number and call me up, that's fine. But if I don't recognize their number, I might not answer my phone, right? Because we all get all kinds of calls and we don't want to talk to people these days on our phones, and people all kinds of stuff. So what I suggest is people send me an email first and say, hi, Christine, this is, and people can email me about anything. In my secret column, I say, send me questions. It's okay. So they can shoot me an email and say, listen, I'd like to set up a phone call with you. And either I can give me their phone number, either I can call them, or they can call me, and then I'll put their number in my phone, so I'll know it's them when they call, right? And then we can chat and set up an initial session. So I can give them information, set up an initial session. The initial session is always free. Okay, so we have a conversation about what I tell them, about what I think might be a good thing for them, or, a little bit of an idea of how we can approach what it is they need help with. And then we go from there. We decide.
I'll be sending you an email, just so you know.
Yeah, you'd better put her number in your phone because she'll be calling
That'd be
you a lot.
lovely. I love that.
Yeah, there's some stuff that I'm dealing with that I don't always know how to approach and react to it. And I know all that in theory that you're saying, what you're saying. I know the theory of it all. You know, I know that there's nothing that I can change but myself.
Yeah.
And I know that if I keep doing the same thing over and over again, I'm just going to have the same results. Like, that's just logic, right? But I still keep doing it, and I just can't help myself. Like, how do you break free of all that? Like, you know, we're so used to doing things a certain way. Like, how do you, like, oftentimes I don't even realize that I'm doing it, right? And by the time I realize I've done it, it's too late. I've done it, you know.
No.
So, but I have a hard time catching myself before the behavior happens. So how do you do that?
Well, the wonderful thing about counseling, Julia, is that sometimes it can slow down that process a bit. So you can, by talking about and reflecting upon your behavior with someone else who is really listening to you and reflecting back to you and so on, the next time, or maybe the time after that you're about to do that behavior, you may have a couple more seconds of reaction time.
Mm-hmm.
So you do it. And that can give you a window, open up a window to make a different choice.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and sometimes it goes, but there are many techniques that can be employed to help do that. And at the end of the day, the most important thing to realize is like, okay, our brain is here, and it's our thought processes. And as I was mentioning earlier, yes, you know, you may have been wired up a certain way, but keep in mind that all of that can be changed.
Mm-hmm.
Because as I said earlier in the show, we get a whole new set of cells every 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
So something is changing in here all the time. And keep in mind also that this is connected to this, meaning sometimes the monkey mind, the brain, doesn't need to be the thing that changes first. Sometimes it's this. And sometimes changes that we make physically can have a big impact on what happens up here. So some of the changes that we can make physically are exercise.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And I got to say, this is a time of year when a lot of people stop exercising, right? It's getting colder outside. We don't want to get inside and snuggle into our like snugglies and not go anywhere. But I'm here to say, please, people, keep exercising, especially right now in the time of COVID. I know the gym, you know, depending if you're listening in Quebec, I know the gyms are closed, but try to go outside. It's amazing how just that one action of going outdoors for 15 minutes a day can change. It's something that you do with your body, right? But it can change so much of this. And that's what we need. We need a little bit of a change for this, for us to start to make the right choice when we get that little window, you know, instead of doing the same thing we always do. Oh, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to say something different, or I'm not going to say anything at all. Sometimes that's a big change, right?
Just a side comment. So I started going hiking on Sundays with my kids, the 3 that live at my house, and they just love it. Like, this is such an adventure for them, and they really enjoy it. Like, we went on to 6 kilometers last week, and then yesterday we went on another 5-kilometer walk in the Thousand Islands. It was just gorgeous day. Yesterday was beautiful, and they love it. We pack a lunch, we eat in nature. They're seeing a whole bunch of little animals. They're having adventures. They're like, that's happiness to them. Like, you know, spending time with me and in nature. It's just it was just. And so I'm so sad that we didn't get to start that like at the beginning of the summer. We just started now at the you know, beginning of fall. So we don't have many days left that we'll be able to. I guess you could do it in the winter time too.
You sure can.
Trails are open.
You can get dressed up. I'm telling you, even 15 minutes. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to put on like my woolies and my scarf and everything just to be outside for 15 minutes. But it's worth it.
Yeah.
What it gives you.
No, it's definitely worth it, because I had started to go for a walk to my mom and dad's, which is a 30-minute walk one way, 30 minutes back. And I love doing it, but it's to get myself motivated to do it. That's the problem. I was doing it every day, and then suddenly I don't feel like it, and it's not like you say. You've got to motivate yourself.
So where do you find that motivation?
Well, exactly. How do you do it? You're good because you started doing the Sundays, and it's kind of an appointment, and you've made yourself do it.
Well, it's been 2 Sundays, my Lise. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. It's 2 weeks.
Oh well, I'm hoping you continue.
We'll see if it continues.
So how do you get the motivation? Like Julia says, how do you motivate yourself when you don't feel like it?
You just remind yourself that you want something to be different. Remember?
That would be a good motivator.
I wanted something to be different, and nothing changes till something changes.
Exactly. That's true.
That's a good motivator for sure.
Now, and that's the thing. We got to hang on, even when our body and our brain is going like, oh no, I don't want to go out there. It's so cold. It's unpleasant. Sometimes we got to push.
Yeah.
Push on through.
Yeah, and the thing is too, like you're saying, change in action. You can change your actions, but you need to want to change your actions too. That's the big thing.
Yeah. And Christine says, how do you maintain motivation?
Exactly. How do we do that? It's a good thing to have someone in your corner cheering for you, pushing for you, always reminding you of all the things that you came and told me in the first place that you wanted to change. And,
accountability.
After a month, I give you like a treatment plan and a synopsis, and, we contract to make these changes. And you agreed that you said that, you would do this with me, and, I'm going to hold you to that.
Actually, that's good.
Yeah, but ultimately it's up to the individual, I guess. You can't.
It is. And the thing is, we need to be able to love ourselves enough to do it.
Those are powerful words.
Can we love ourselves first?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are we able to do that? And sometimes, and that's the other thing too, we all have various demands on our times. And for many people, just to exercise or do something may trigger their pain for a while to be more. But as time goes on, if they keep on doing their program of self-help and self-recovery, whatever that is, whatever coping tools that involve, it could involve going outside, it could involve exercise, or it might involve meditation. It might involve gentle yoga. It might involve listening to music. It might involve listening to deep relaxation tapes, so we're in a deeply relaxed state, and then affirmations. I do this kind of taping with people in the office. I give them really deep relaxation exercise, and then the affirmations that we agreed on that are going to work for them. We say those things, they record it on their phone, and I say, okay, home, and do this every day. And it's hard sometimes to even take half an hour or 20 minutes or even 10 minutes out of a day, for depending on what's going on.
Well, but that's just that's just an excuse, because we find time to waste on other things. If you really want 10 minutes, I'm sure we can make 10 minutes, because we spend like just on Facebook alone, like this is such a waste of time sometimes. So yeah.
But if if you go on Facebook and you want to listen, your little, meditation or relaxation session is there on your phone, and you can just pop in your ear.
You're right.
While you're going somewhere, not while you're driving. Do not do this while you're driving, okay? Because it's a deep relaxation.
Yeah.
And
well, that's great.
And that's manageable for them a lot of the time.
That's awesome. It is 10:49. I can't believe that the time went by so fast. You were such an interesting guest. Thank you so much for coming to see us today on Thanksgiving Monday. You could be a million other places, and you accepted to be on our show. So thank you very much.
And thank you.
I would rather be here right now than anywhere else.
Oh,
wow. Thank you. And thank you so much for coming on board with The Seeker. Like, it was awesome. I mean, one of our writers, Lisa Gray, wrote a story about you, and here you are.
Lisa is fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, and here you are on board with us. So this is wonderful. So we do encourage people to send in their questions to what's your email, Christine?
It's a little bit long, It's Christine Lavoie Consulting at gmail.com.
Well, that's not bad. Yeah,
You
sending
me
your
I'll put
questions.
it in the chat.
I'll put it on. It's okay.
Can you? I want to spell it wrong.
Yeah, you don't want to spell it wrong. But yeah, we encourage people, and then Christine can answer your questions, because that's one thing she wanted to do, is have a question and answer period in her column.
Like that? Is that correct?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yes. Yay.
All right. So you can send her an email, and
yeah, that's another thing. Like, people can just ask me questions for my column. You know, I can answer questions there. But you know, by all means, like, shoot me an email. If you give me a phone number, we can go on the phone. Like I said, I can give you a free session, and you can decide if that's something you want to continue with, or not. And sometimes, you know, profound change can happen in just one session.
Good.
It has happened.
All right. Well,
Wonderful.
You have yourself a wonderful Thanksgiving with you and
Thank
yours.
You so much. Enjoy your turkeys. They sound
Thank you.
wonderful.
Will do. All right. Bye,
care now.
Christine. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
No,
well, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, that was wonderful. Like, say that, and that's all it takes sometimes, is just to see somebody else's point of view, or have somebody kind of motivate you and hold you
your hand through it all.
Yeah.
And accountability is a big deal.
Yeah, that's what I want to say.
Yeah.
You know, hold you accountable. Like, I know my daughter, she does like a little programs, because she did do this kind of counseling thing too. And one of her things, even with her kids, I mean, she practices it on her kids. She'll set up week by week a little plan that they have to kind of practice on during the week. And then there's, you know, they'll see the end result at the end of the week, but it's just little steps.
Yeah.
And then they become bigger steps.
I'm facing issues right now because I fail to follow through. I start a lot of things with my kids, for example, you know, I start a lot of things like the charts and the, you know, and then I'm not consistent. And so I have a credibility issue with my kids right now that I got to work on, you know, because they don't believe me anymore. Like, they know if I say, okay, from now on, we're going to do this, and that. They're telling each other, you know, just give it a week, it'll be gone, you know? So I got a credibility issue.
Well, I mean,
so I need to be consistent.
That's why I'm so proud of us for this Monday morning motivation, because we've continued this for many, many, many weeks, where we were worried that we would start and then lose motivation. But I mean, on weeks that we're not here, it's because there's a technical issue or a reason. And I know that's what somebody had said too. Oh, why are they not on today? Oh, it must be lack of motivation. That's not what it is. We're actually very motivated for this show.
Yeah.
So it's awesome that we've continued this. But like,
well, it's part of, like Christine was saying, like, you know, the change. Like, we took this step, we did something differently, and we are, you know, keeping on with it. We're kind of reminding ourselves that this is important because we're gonna feel better for the rest of the week.
And it's important because if Julia comes on by herself and I say, nah, I don't want to do it, or vice versa, that's not going to work.
Have a monologue.
And then we're going to be very annoyed at each other. But the thing is, I forgot to ask Christine, I wanted to ask her, there's a certain amount of times you've got to do something for it to become a habit. How many is that? Do you know? We should have asked her.
I think it's 7. Like, I think that you have to... It's kind of like advertising. Remember that we always say that 7 times is the magic number. Like, if somebody advertises 7 times, it doesn't matter in what media, but a person has to hear the message 7 times for it to register. So I would think that, but you know, they say that to create habits, it's a 30-day thing. It's
That's
like,
what I mean.
if you do it for 30 days, then it's a habit.
Yeah.
If you maintain it for 30 days, then you should be okay.
Yeah, because I know I think I told you, when I lived in the other subdivision, there was a girl I walked with, and we made it into a habit. And sometimes it was hard to break away from it. And we had a set time that we would meet to walk. I think it was around 7 or 8 o'clock at night. And very often I'd suddenly get an email on my computer, because that's where I live, right? It says back away from your keyboard now. I'm at the front door. So you always need somebody to push you, you know, to get you doing things.
Yeah.
No, that was awesome, that conversation that we had.
Very much so. So before we leave, I just want to touch base on a few things. I want to talk about our calendar of events on the Seeker page. So the seeker.ca, we've been having all sorts of issues for about 2 or 3 weeks now, where the calendar of events was like, we were trying different calendars and it was not working. And
Julia was getting super frustrated.
Oh my gosh, was I ever
on it? Yeah.
So I finally found something that does what we wanted to do, and that is simple enough to our liking, because the important thing is that it's super fast and easy for you guys to submit your events. So now we found something, and you can go on the seeker.ca, click the button events, and then you'll see what's coming up. And you can also click the button to submit your event, and it's really, really quick, fast, and easy. You can't mess up. So finally happy with the system we chose, and it should stay like this for the rest of, like, I know some of you have been going on and trying to submit your events, and then oops, it was gone because we were doing another event, another calendar, and then whoops, it was disappearing again, and it was really frustrating. So I apologize for that, but now all is good, and you should be okay to do it.
Yeah, and it looks nice. It looks good too. It's nice, clean.
Nice and clean.
Yeah, it looks good. Before we go though, I do want to mention one event that I will put in there, but it is on our website right now. I did the 5 questions about it. It's called Cornwall Gives a Shirt, and it's they found a way. They've been doing this for a few years, and it's to give the landfill more life. So basically, between the 19th and 23rd. On your regular garbage day, you can put out bags of clothes, blankets, shoes, anything that can go to Serendipity, the Agape thrift store, or Salvation Army. The city will pick it up and distribute it to those places instead of throwing it out and putting it in the landfill to fill it. But what you have to do—
What dates?
It's October 19th to the 23rd. That's the time. Put your bag out, but mark it clearly with Cornwall Gives a Shirt, so that they know which bag to take for this and which bag is your garbage. Like, just put them separately. But I think it's a great idea, because I know we've already got like 3 bags sitting there figuring what am I going to do with this. So definitely we'll be going there. And this way it can be of use to somebody else instead of just filling up our landfill. We need to give that more life right now. So that's a really good thing that's going on. And if you want more questions and answers about it, go to the seeker.ca, and there's 5 questions with David Kuhn from the city about it.
Perfect. All right. Well, I got a turkey to go base.
Yeah.
So
and we ate ours yesterday, so it was awesome.
All right. So we'll bid you have a good day, people. I hope that you have a fabulous Thanksgiving, COVID style. Be safe. And we'll see you next week.
And have a super duper day. Bye.
Bye.